I'm Adam and this is Reel Rivalries, the show where we pit two movies head to head and let you decide the winner. Today we're going to determine which Christopher Nolan mindbender is superior as Inception goes up against Tenet. The rounds dreamed up are characters, story, worlds, and Nolanisms. Let's start with Michael Caine and friends. Inception's cast is chock full of the Nolan go-tos, with many of them heading on over to Dark Knight Rises in a couple years down the road. We have Bane, Robin, Alfred, Scarecrow, and Miranda in this picture. New to the Nolanverse is Leonardo DiCaprio as Cobb, a master dream extractionist who wants nothing more than to get back to the life he used to have. Elliot Page plays a college student turned dream architect, and Ken Watanabe gets to spend a lifetime in limbo, waiting for Cobb to wake him up. The main protagonist in Tenet is Protagonist. That's the only name we're given for actor John David Washington in the film. Joining him is the newest Batman, Robert Pattinson. Although I have to say, he'll always be Cedric Diggory in my eyes. I'm not a fan of Twilight. Speaking of Harry Potter though, Fleur Delacour is in this too. Unlike the main character, the villain here gets more of a name than just antagonist. Sator, played by Kenneth Branagh, isn't a great husband by any stretch of the imagination, and somehow an even worse human being. His wife Kat, played by Elizabeth Debicki, tries to get out of a horrible relationship, and at one point even attempts to kill him during rich person playtime. It's almost a requirement at this point to have Michael Caine crop up in a Nolan picture, and Tenet is no exception. A few more Potter actors might have pushed me closer to Tenet, but as it stands, Inception wins this round pretty easily. Strap in as I do a deep dive for both Tenet and Inception. Buckle up as I meticulously break down each film's plots in their entirety, going point by point in such a manner that you can confidently leave this video and share your findings with your friends and family. No, that's not even remotely true. I'm just going to gloss over both plots without getting into the minutia of it all. Because believe it or not, I don't have all the answers, kids. I do, however, love the living hell out of both these strange and intriguing stories. Let's start with Inception, which follows Cobb, as he and his team attempt to pull off the greatest heist ever conceived. Nolan effortlessly sets up this concept before he takes things to the next level. These are levels being taken. It turns out Cobb has quite the rap sheet, which means he can't ever see his kids again. That is, until he is presented with one final score that will allow him to return to a normal life. He and his crew need to construct an elaborate multi-tiered dream within a dream scenario where they implant an idea in a CEO's head. An idea that will make his investor very powerful. To make things more complicated, his dead wife Maul is haunting his dreams, thwarting his attempts at success. The picture ends with Cobb successfully accomplishing Inception, confronting his guilt over Maul, and reuniting with his children. Nolan keeps the ending intentionally vague, open for personal interpretation. It's somewhat irrelevant anyways, as Cobb genuinely seems at peace with things, even if it is all still a dream. Tenet is a film where stuff happens, then it happens backwards for a while, then it happens forwards and backwards in tandem. I think that's enough of an explanation. Let's head on over to round 3. I'm joking, I'll attempt this. After a nice night at the opera, our protagonist is captured and tortured. Really tortured twice, as he just left the opera. I'll continue. After taking a suicide pill that doesn't quite fulfill the job, he finds himself waking out at sea, where he joins up with a secret agency, learns the access word Tenet, and gets really good at pull-ups. His mission is a simple one. Stop World War III from taking place by harnessing future technology that allows the user to reverse their entropy. It's just so simple. He tracks the metal from a reverse bullet to a billionaire in India, who then points him to a Russian arms dealer that threatens global extinction. The protagonist attempts to get close to him by gaining the trust of his estranged wife, Kat. To win her over, he steals a painting from a free port after fighting a mystery man who doesn't know how to fire a gun in the right direction. The MacGuffin of the picture is plutonium. That turns out to be a red herring. The real weapon he's after is so much worse. An algorithm from the future is the real prize Sator's after. This doomsday device is scattered in an attempt to stop the impending destruction of Earth. It's revealed by the end of this ambitious story that the protagonist was the one responsible for the Tenet program, and he's now just catching up to the events that have unfolded years earlier. Of course, I'm not really doing either movie justice by this quick recap, but I did find myself connecting more with Inception and its characters. Another win here. The world of Inception is so fun to watch play out because Nolan intentionally keeps things so vague. This keeps the viewer wondering what is real and what is just another layer of the dream. The concept of getting lost in such a state adds one more element to the mystery. What is real even? Has Cobb been in a dream state since the movie started? How have they made so many Fast and the Furious movies? These are questions I continue to ask myself over and over again. The supporting characters are all pretty one-dimensional to begin with, which further leans on the idea that maybe nothing is what it seems. The totems are designed to keep the user tethered to their real awakened state, which Nolan will also use as the final tease to close things out. Of course, a good kick, as they call it, will wake a person up too, along with the realization that buildings shouldn't fold over themselves, which keeps the architect in check so they don't go too crazy with the dream. This structure works so well because it takes a basic concept everyone's familiar with and it builds this unique thriller around it. This may come as a surprise to none of you, but Tenet said backwards is Tenet. Yeah. It actually caught me off guard because I initially thought the movie was called Tenant. So, I mean, that's no one's fault but my own. I understand that. Once again, Nolan builds an experience around a universal concept. Time. In this inverted world, hot becomes cold, forward becomes backward, Cats becomes a cinematic masterpiece. Everything's flipped on its head. Even when not inverted, characters go out of their way to perform shenanigans, such as bungee jumping upwards or intentionally stealing a fake painting. Before we know it, cars are driving backwards, pincer moves are playing out, and the protagonist starts kicking his own ass. Inception has a Cobb salad's worth of spectacle, but in the end, Tenet catches up. There was 2 puns there for you. It's a tie. Great directors all have a specific flair to their work that makes them unmistakable from their peers. Nolan definitely falls into that category. There is a coldness to his films that help isolate the main characters and make the situation feel more dire. There are usually men in dapper suits doing inexplicable things, set to awesome, booming music composed by Hans Zimmer. Tenet has the music still, but it loses a key ingredient. Hans Zimmer, who was at the time busy working on Dune. Instead, Ludwig Göransson provides the powerful score for which you may have missed altogether, as the music is very subdued here, very hard to hear. The actor's voices overpower it at times. It's hard to distinguish when music starts and when it stops. I'm being incredibly sarcastic. There's times when I don't have a single clue what people are saying. The score at many times overpowers everything, which means the viewers have to either A, turn on subtitles, or B, rewatch the film. To be fair, a rewatch is almost mandatory to begin with. Practical effects when possible is another staple for the director. This usually means doing crazy stunt work and crashing actual vehicles, or in the case of Tenet, a 747 plane. Nolan claims this was the cheaper route to go, but I mean, come on. Come on, man. You just wanted to see if you could get away with it. They also rotated a 2-scale hotel hallway in Inception for the zero-gravity fight, although the waves of buildings were in fact done by computer. I guess it wasn't in the budget this time to peel a full city over itself, although I'm sure Christopher would try to get away with it if he could. I think the biggest thing I've noticed with this director's film style is his editing and the use of time in general. He loves to tell non-linear stories, along with having multiple scenes play out at once. These concepts can be seen throughout both Inception and Tenet. Also, just one more simple observation by myself, but if you see a mystery person in a Nolan film, odds are that it's going to end up being the main character by the time things close out. Like, the odds being 100% of the time. This round's another tie. There's plenty of Nolanisms to go around. I don't think there's any question that Tenet was a massive undertaking. While a technical marvel, it failed to reach me on an emotional level like Inception did. Now I want to hear from you. Tell me which film you prefer. Leave a like if you had some fun, and I'll see you next time on another Reel Rivalries. And I want to point out that when looking up palindromes like Tenet, I found out that race car is also the same backwards as it is forwards. How I didn't know that for the entirety of my existence so far is a bigger mind than either of these 2 films. Something to leave you with. Maybe you're in the same boat as me. I don't know. Call me, we'll talk about it. Thanks for watching The Rivalry. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button and comment with your episode winner. If you're a fan of movie debates, feel free to subscribe to ScreenRant for Reel Rivalries and much, much more.